What's going on, sports fans? There's Mr. Bradley Long.
Hey, how's it
Hey,
going?
what's going on, buddy? Do
Yeah,
you have
I'm
time to
good.
take a shower?
Yeah, only
These aren't
just.
handcuffs on your door. What is that back there?
My wife's obsessed with hearts. They just
Heart?
hang everywhere in our house. Yeah, it's some sort of heart shape.
Just stand up, everybody. Let everybody see that what the t-shirt you're wearing. Like,
Not sure.
Shopify's in the house, guys. Yeah, baby. Shopify's in the house. So, guys, we got Ernest is going to be trying to join us from Boise. I just talked to him a few minutes ago. He just landed out there in Boise, Idaho. So he actually might be popping on here. We got Mr. Rick's on. I got a call-in listener. Not sure who that is. We got more people going to be joining us here. But Bradley, I'm super excited to talk to you tonight. Literally, here's the guy who's got the number one theme out there selling online that people are using. They've done millions and millions in sales. Literally one out of like over 600 some themes that are out there. You got the number one out there. You've helped do consulting for people like Facebook, right? I mean, just a small company out there, right? Guys like Vimeo, the large, probably the second largest out of YouTube as far as like video views and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I look forward to getting inside your mind a little bit tonight and learning from you about what you would do. Because a lot of times people come on and say, I'm struggling. People are coming to my website. They're not buying stuff. I'm like, well, let's look at your conversions, right? So literally, guys, Bradley is like the god of conversions. You know, I mean, like literally, he's a beast at doing that. I know Lisa's on the call now. She's like, I got questions about conversions. People are coming to my store not buying stuff. I'm like, Lisa, I was like, Bradley's going to answer all your questions tonight. I was like, you need to be on there. So Bradley, man, without further ado, I just want to like, first question I got for you is like, how did you get started in e-commerce and why did you pick Shopify to actually to do this whole deal?
Yeah. So, my e-commerce journey started out back in 2005, and weird way I got into it. Basically, my dad died back in 2000, and I took over his carpentry contracting company, and through that, I ended up drop shipping garage doors, or garage doors, as you guys say, and that was my entry into high ticket drop shipping, and just cut my teeth with e-commerce, SEO, and then I've had to figure out the conversion piece because I realized that selling garage doors is freaking hard to do. It's a nightmare. It's really expensive and people have to measure them and get the measurements right and all that sort of stuff. So that's where I learned. And then from there, I got into the consulting side of things. And then when Shopify came around, I just saw that, this huge wave coming of people just getting on into e-commerce because they made it super easy, right? Because before I was running on like bespoke platforms and Magento, and it was just all like mega complicated and really, really hard to do. And then Shopify just absolutely took off because they made it so easy for everyone, and which is great, because it's opened up a whole world to people that probably just could never got into it before because you needed so much more startup capital. Because I think my first website, I spent like 20 grand getting it built, and
so pause real quick. So you invested $20,000 to build a website that you know was going to bring in money yet.
Exactly.
And now look at what you've actually done, right, for the marketplace that people like literally don't have to do. I mean, it's
exactly.
Yeah.
You could be in and up and running within a day with Shopify, right? And test different markets, different niches. Amazing. It's just so much easier now.
So what are some of the biggest learning lessons you've had along the way with all the different e-commerce stuff you've done? If you had to like go back and be like, man, I wish I would have knew this one secret like 5 years ago when I first started this deal. Like if I knew this going into it, it would have saved me all the heartache, the headaches, and all the money going out the door with it.
Yeah. So, man, just don't invest 20K in a red website. Definitely not. You gotta fail fast, right? So, test stuff and figure out what works, what doesn't, and keep moving all the time. Because the minute you get bogged down in like sticking to one particular niche, if it's not working, then move on. You can move very, very fast with Shopify and especially with drop shipping. You're not tied to anything. So learn your lessons fast, and then once you find something that wins, just scale it basically. So I wish if I'd known how to drive traffic like I do now with Facebook and stuff, and I mean, if Facebook even existed when I started out, I think it was just such in the early days. I didn't even have an ads platform then. But yeah, I just spent all my time doing SEO, and oh man, that was
brutal.
Yeah, it's a pain in the backside. But yeah, tons and tons of lessons on the way. But the biggest one really is fail fast and just keep moving forward. And it's a bit like, it's funny, I was having this conversation at my ninjutsu class earlier. Like when the going gets tough, you just got to keep going. There's no other way forward. Okay, if you just stand still and you procrastinate or you freak out, that's when you're going to fail. But if you just keep moving forward and trying every day, then you'll get success.
Mic dropper right there, guys. Keep moving forward in the face of adversity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had this Marine. I was in the Marines, and there's Ernest. Woo!
Hey.
We had this one Marine, and you know, they'd always say, you know, like if somebody's shooting at you, like, what do you do? And he's like, well, you turn your gun and you shoot back, and then you charge at him. You know, and that was pretty much the tactic. And lo and behold, we were doing that in real life situation. He didn't make it home. You know, he was doing basically what he's like trained to do. So in this game, though, we're playing on Shopify or e-commerce. You don't have to worry about somebody shooting at you, literally. You know, so I mean, it's not life or death. I mean, you can make a mistake and you can get up and play again. You know, it's not like it's life or death. So guys, quit playing like it's life or death, and that's the last penny you're holding on to. Is what Bradley is pretty much saying here.
Absolutely.
Ernest, did you get a haircut finally? Ernest was looking for a haircut place out in Boise, Idaho.
Not yet. I'm on a mission to go get a haircut. Hopefully, I can find somewhere to go here pretty soon. Yeah. I'm leveraging Google search engine to find the spot.
Nobody's putting the ads up for that.
Yeah, hopefully somebody's running some Facebook ads.
You heard it here, guys. You went to Google to find a haircut place, not Facebook. Right.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's how I use the barbershop that I use locally in Fredericksburg. I literally put in like African-American barbershops. And like a bunch of them popped up, and I just chose one that was on the list. Actually, I chose two different ones, and one of them gave me a really great experience, but they're just so busy. Like literally, like, and these guys, they got it on lock. You know, the conversion stuff that Bradley's going to be talking about. I mean, they do that stuff extremely well online and offline. But because they do it so good, they're always busy. Like they always got so much business. I mean, I've never gone to a barbershop where I have to consistently wait like an hour and a half to 2 hours. So there's like this Asian lady that's right around the corner, and she chops me up really well and charges a decent price, and I ain't got to wait for like an hour and a half to get a haircut. So, yeah, Google is amazing, and conversion optimization is extremely important if we want to expect to make any type of money, no matter what it is we're doing.
Yeah, totally, guys.
So Ernest, he actually has a Shopify shirt on. So, like,
yeah.
We had somebody posted in the group today a question about something on Shopify. They like had a question. So I want Ernest to ask you some questions and reference to stuff that he'd like to know about, like conversions and all that kind of stuff, because you guys talk like a different language, like super cool stuff, and he knows how to ask the questions that really make it count. So without further ado, man, I'm going to give it to Ernest for a few minutes here and let him ask you whatever you want, and kind of like get Bradley a little unplugged, you know, because this is like a rare opportunity, guys. And Bradley, again, thank you for sitting up past 12 o'clock. I know it is 12 o'clock for you out there in the UK.
Yeah, it's not quite so bad. It's 11. I got the time zone a little bit wrong, but yeah, it's only 11, so we're all good. I'm like Cinderella at midnight, you know, my carriage disappears, you know.
It turns into no pumpkin.
Awesome. Well, now, Bradley, like I know you've been in this game for a long time, so you know, just kind of, you know, starting at like the fundamentals, like what is it that you see most new people miss when they first get their stores up? You know, now let's say hypothetically, like, you know, the world is absolutely amazing, so everybody's using the Bradley theme or Shoptimize. So let's say all that stuff they're already leveraging. What is the biggest thing you see people miss with conversions when they first launch their Shopify stores?
Yeah, there's three things. One is just being sloppy and lazy, like people using things like Gmail addresses for their contact us, which just, makes you look really unprofessional and untrustworthy. It's having really just copy and pasting, like say, for example, people drop shipping from like AliExpress, they just copy and paste the really bad quality product descriptions and not putting any thought into those. Spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes. It just destroys trust and credibility. So that's not good. The other thing is their value proposition. Okay, this is something not many people talk about, but it's hugely important in e-commerce. Is why should I buy from you rather than go to Amazon or the next competitor? And people just don't think about it. They think, right, I put a store up, I've got a logo, and I've got products, and I'm the cheapest. They think that's their value proposition, and it's not the case. You've got to be in the most logical choice in the person's mind. So what is it that you do differently from everyone else? Is it because you're established longer? Is it because you've got 24/7 customer service? Is it because you've got the longest guarantee? Is it because your products are a premium quality, or you've gone to the ends of the earth to source them? Whatever it is, your point of difference, you need to figure what that is and sing it from the rooftops, because I see so many stores where they're just like the next one. And, if you're selling a commodity-based product, that's just not good enough, because you then probably end up competing on price, and that's just a race to the bottom. And it really is only the lowest price person that wins, and the one who can be the lowest price provider is the one that gets the volume of the sales, because everyone comes to them, and then they get the better discounts off of their suppliers, and then it becomes a closed shop. No one else can compete with them. So you don't want to be in that position. The only way you can compete is on your value proposition. So you have to make sure that your people understand what your value proposition is and why they should buy from you, and why they should buy from you right now, because you don't want them leaving your site going to look at a competitor's one. So that's the other one. And then the other mistake I see people make is, like, with the Shoptimized theme, we've got a ton of features on there, but people switch them all on at once because they think they have to be using all of them. We've got countdowns, we've got scarcity on the stock count, 12 items left, that sort of stuff. And they put every bell and whistle on, and the page just becomes really, really cluttered, and they don't really understand what the tools are for in terms of why they should be using them. And the combination of too many of them just becomes overwhelming and puts people off the page. So what you really need to do is just test each one incrementally to figure out what works for your market, your traffic, and your types of product. So those are the three main things I see people kind of getting wrong from the get-go.
Wow. So you said you should actually test stuff. So don't turn it all at once, guys. Test it. My goodness. I can say, one of the things I've done with the store that I've had the longest is that, I've tested the different shipping times, like 24-hour countdown versus like 72-hour countdown, where I say like free shipping's available for like 3 days or 1 day or even a week. And, just for that audience, it just so happens the 24-hour one works best, right? But on another store, I have a 3-day countdown, and that's working better for conversions.
Yeah.
So,
it just goes to show you can't just assume because it works for one store, it's going to work for another. And that's, again, another mistake people make. They listen to like best practice. They go and read a blog, or some guru posts something in a Facebook group, says, "Hey guys, you've got to do this." And then everyone rushes and does the same thing. But everyone's mileage is going to vary, right? You've got to look at your store individually and think, okay, well, look, my traffic's coming from this source, and this is my type of product, and this is the demographic, and all those things play a different part, and that's why you got to test stuff. Absolutely, Hannes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because I know one of the things, because your theme is super popular, extremely popular. Everybody absolutely loves it. But like you said, there's certain things you can turn on and turn off to tweak the theme to really create your own unique experience for your customers in your market.
Absolutely.
And I think that's super duper important. But I think the biggest thing, just kind of recapping exactly what you said. So the first thing is stop being cheap, get a real official email account, right? Don't be, kitchentables@gmail.com. Be info@kitchentables. gmail.com, because you automatically get a higher perceived perception from your audience because you have a real business email.
Exactly.
And what was the second thing you mentioned, Brad?
Which is the value proposition, right?
Yep, value proposition. And this is the point that I really want to get to. Like, this is huge. This is what's helped me win, like, with every store that I've got an opportunity to put up and drive traffic to, is like figuring out, like, you know, what just one or two things that makes me unique when people come to my store, right? What's the one or two things I can do different from everyone else? So I know you kind of gave some really cool examples. Bradley, do you mind kind of recapping those for people so they can have some ideas of what they can come up with?
So they could be things like, you know, if you've been established a long time, obviously if you're new into this, but maybe you were a brick and mortar store before, and, you know, it's a family business that's been going 30 years or whatever, and you just got online, you know, maybe say that, or maybe say that your staff are all US based, you know, you're not outsourcing to a call center overseas, or you have a 365-day money back guarantee, whereas your competitors have 30 days. You know, that's a huge point of difference. It could be that you've got the largest stocks, or the best discounts, whatever it is. You need to just make sure that that's very, very clear, because the minute someone arrives on your site, they're asking themselves all these questions in their head. Okay, I call it the web shopper's checklist. Okay, so they're saying, right, can I trust this store? Am I going to find what I'm looking for? Is it going to arrive quickly? If there's a problem with it, is it going to be easy for me to resolve it? Can I call them? Can I email them? If it doesn't fit, or I don't like it when it turns up, what do I have to do then? Is it going to cost me for free return shipping? They've got all these questions going on in their minds, and if you're not answering those, or you're making people work really hard to find the answer to those, then that's going to affect your conversions. So it's really, really important that you have that understanding, and you take yourself out from, like, there's an expression I like to use, which is you can't read the label from inside the bottle, right? So you want to put yourself in the customer's shoes, not your shoes as the Shopify store owner. Okay, so you want to, you know, buy from your own store, or stand over your mother-in-law's shoulder while she buys from your store. You know, she's probably the most critical person in the world, and you know, watch her go through the experience, or someone that, you know, matches your demographic, and you'll see things through a whole new light. And that's a hugely important exercise. It sounds simple and, like, you know, kind of blasé, but doing that will really, really open up your eyes to how people see your website, because you're just too close to it as the store owner. You know, it's your baby, and you know, you've spent ages configuring it or whatever, and you really need to see it through someone else's eyes. So very useful exercise.
Yeah, Riley, I even have my 12-year-old daughter come on and look at my websites for me just to make sure, because if somebody who's a 12-year-old can understand what's on the website, then everybody's going to understand it too. So that's one of the other things out there. Sometimes people just make stuff like way too complex.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the things you mentioned too, just a small little detail is, you know, talk to someone in the U.S. You know, I've actually had, you know, one of the clients that I've worked with in the past add that to their store, and that improved their conversion rate, you know, by 12, 15%, just by adding that little statement above the fold on the website. It's just like, wow, you know, like, your customers actually appreciate that, right? And that goes to understanding, like, your demographics. And, you know, again, if we're mainly targeting the U.S. or whatever country it is, like, what are those things specifically in the country that you're looking to sell in that are unique enough that people would appreciate on your actual website?
Yeah, spot on.
Oh man, great stuff, man. I hope people are really starting to understand some of these different dynamics. Now, have you noticed anything specifically, like, you know, let's just talk about mobile for a little bit, man, because, you know, tons and tons of traffic is being driven on mobile, and it's so funny because a lot of people don't think that people are willing to spend money on mobile, and I've noticed that one of the first things most people do from advertising budget-wise is cut down mobile either immensely or they just turn it off completely. And, you know, there's been some months for me where, you know, I've done, like, you know, $40,000 on mobile and then, like, you know, $32,000 on desktop, right? So what do you think are some of the key components to really having a high-converting, mobile-friendly website?
The first thing's speed, right? Because obviously, you know, if someone's on a mobile connection, then every second counts of millisecond counts. The other thing is just keeping it simple, not overcomplicating the page, and making sure that your call to action's really clear and they don't have to scroll too far down the page for that. And yeah, the main thing really is speed, because that will absolutely be the death knell. If you've got a slow loading site on mobile, it's just going to kill it for you. People just are too impatient to hang around, especially if they're on the run, they're short on time. It just is the death knell. So we really focus on that on our Shoptimized theme, and with the new release that we've got coming out in the next couple of weeks, we've cranked up the speeds even further. So it's absolutely like blisteringly fast on mobile. It's so important now.
Absolutely. So you said the main thing that's killing conversions for most people is speed on mobile.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can play around with the layout on a product page. If you're sending traffic directly to your product pages, we've things like sticky add to cart buttons and stuff like that to make sure it's always there wherever people are scrolling on the page. What we do is that we on our theme we have like a concertina. So where on the desktop you'd have like the tabs across, you'd have like product description, shipping and returns policy, whatever your tabs are, specification, whatever, reviews. We've got those in a concertina manner so that people aren't having to scroll miles down the page to see that information. They just can quickly navigate to it. So it's not kind of succinct. It's within the first couple of scrolls, if you like. If someone's scrolling through the mobile, you don't want them to swipe down like 10 times to get to the reviews, for example. So trying to condense that information above the folds is quite important.
Whoa! You just said above the fold, Bradley. Most people have no idea what the heck that means right there. So let's pause for a second. Let's explain what above the fold means.
So it comes from the newspaper industry. If you imagine a newspaper folded over in half on the newsstand, the headline that people read and decide which newspaper they're going to buy, or whether they're just going to buy the newspaper that day at all, is critical. So everything that appears above the fold is absolutely essential in terms of when you're buying a newspaper. And that terminology is translated to the web. It's everything that appears before you have to scroll. Now, time's moved on and people are much more used to having to scroll now. But back in the day, when I first started out, you used to get people just didn't realize you could scroll at all. We used to get something we used to call a false bottom. So, for example, you could just have a graphical element across the bottom of your page that gave the impression that was it, and there was nothing else to view below the fold. So a lot of people just wouldn't scroll because they just thought, right, that's everything. I'm just looking at everything in this one vista. And I've had some big wins with clients where you just change that element, or just move something slightly above the fold, or add an arrow pointing, scroll to read more. Even just a call out like that can make a huge difference. And like I said, it's not such a big thing now because people are used to scrolling. They understand that that's how the web works. But I've always got to believe. I remember when my dad taught me to drive, he said, treat everyone else on the road like an idiot and you'll be okay. And I kind of had the same philosophy when it comes to web design. Okay, you have to go for the lowest common denominator and think, okay, it's a bit like what Darryl was saying about, if his 12-year-old daughter can do it, that's cool. You have to aim for someone that's really not that savvy. And if they can do it, then you're golden with everyone else. So don't assume anything.
Yeah, no, that was great stuff, man. Absolutely. Man, that was go ahead, Dale.
What are some of the stuff you did with Facebook to kind of help them with their conversion? You're under some NDA you can't talk about.
Yeah, you guessed it. This is going back a few years, and I was part of a team when I was working for an agency who are the world's best conversion consultants, and they were one of our clients. But I'm still under NDA. It lasts a lifetime, so I can't talk about it. But it was pretty
Let's say you can't talk about that company, but
Yeah.
you can talk about a company over here that you did stuff
Yeah.
with. That you learned.
Yeah, so this is something that I learned when I was working with those guys. Their methodology is world famous in the conversion space, and it's kind of become, at the time, it was very much like, it was like their secret sauce, but it's kind of disseminated now where a lot of people understand this. But all of the big wins that I've ever had in my conversion career, and those guys have, is all comes down to visitor intelligence and understanding your visitors and what their objections are. So if they have a sales objection, and overcoming them, or if it's a usability issue, so something's broken on the site, or the call to action's hidden below the fold or something like that. Just to give you a quick example, one of my own clients, I don't know, any of you guys in the t-shirt space, there's a site called 80s Tees, one of the biggest Shopify stores out there. I was doing some split testing on their site, and we had a huge win for them. I think it was about 26% increase just from making their search field in the header more prominent, because the way they had it originally, it was very camouflaged. Although it was there, it blended into the background of the rest of the header. And all we did was make it a contrasting color. And it just had this phenomenal result of 26. I think it was around 26% higher conversion rate, just because people that interact with the search field tend to convert, I think on average, about 4 to 5 times better than people that try and navigate via your menu system. People who type into the search field have a much higher intent to purchase, because they've got something on their mind and they want to find it. If you can help facilitate that, then you're going to win. So that was such an easy win for us, because I just looked at the site and I thought, I looked at their analytics first, which is always a good place to start, because that's when you start to see what the issues are with the site, but not necessarily why. So I looked at analytics, and I could see that people that used the site search were much higher converting. So I just thought, right, okay, well, what can we do to make this, do more of this stuff? So when we just changed the search field like that, it was a huge win for us. So that was really cool. The methodology of understanding your visitors and stuff like that is huge. And that's where a lot of people make a big mistake with their testing and stuff, is that they just go in gung-ho and they've got no idea why they're testing something. Their kind of hypothesis behind it is really flawed. And you got to make sure that when you run a test, you're doing it in kind of a well thought out manner. Because if you just say for example, again, like some guru says, right, change all your call to action buttons to orange, that's going to double your conversions. That's just absolute rubbish. It all comes down to answering objections and fixing genuine usability problems. Okay. And obviously, with e-commerce, your usability issues should be pretty minor. But like when I've worked on big SaaS sites, software as a service sites and things like that, they do have more issues like that. But fixing sales objections is a big one. Like, for example, I was working on an HVAC site, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. They were drop shipping replacement parts, and people had a huge objection with them because their returns period was terrible. It was like 14 days, and there was a 25% restocking charge. And by the time people got the part, they might have received it on a Tuesday, but wouldn't have time to try and install it until the Saturday because they were working or whatever. They were just like, I'm not going to buy this. This is a pain in the backside. I've no idea whether I'm getting the right part, because it's something I've never bought before. I don't know anything about this thing. I just know that my freaking heating's not working, or I'm sweating to death with my aircon. I just want the problem fixed, and I'm going to have a go at fixing it myself. So with them, the biggest thing we could have changed on that website was increasing the guarantee period. And we introduced a guarantee saying that basically said, right part, right first time guarantee. So it took away all the worry from people of, am I going to order the right part, and that sort of thing, because we understood by sending out a survey to all their existing customers what their objections were, okay, and what their fears and concerns were when they went through the buying process. So once we understood that, we could then do things on the website that we knew would make a difference. Whereas if we just looked at it and said, well, let's just change the color of the call to action button, yeah, we may have got a win, and you do sometimes, but chances are it's a fluke, or yeah, exactly. So if you want to double a business, you have to understand the customers and their objections. And that's where you get that's where the gold is.
So a couple of gold nuggets there, guys.
Man, Bradley, fire, bro. Like, yo, you're spitting some hot lava right now. Jeez, man, killing it.
So takeaway there, guys. Talk to your customers. Once you have customers, talk to them. Yeah. Find out why they bought, why they didn't buy. Pay attention to the analytics before you actually go make changes, and don't make so many changes that you don't even know what's coming or going. So, and don't listen to just somebody comes on and hey, change all your buttons to this or change this to that because it worked for me. It's going to work for you. No, might not be the case. So, yeah, I mean, that's just at the end of the day, Bradley. It just sounds like you really talk to your customers and find out what they wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. It's as simple as that, but there's work involved in it, it's a lot of people, and I get it. People are busy. They're trying to just drive traffic and organize customer service issues and all that sort of stuff. But, once you've got all that stuff sorted and, you got your business ticking over nicely, that's the stage when you can really start to look into this stuff. When you've got a good flow of traffic and a good customer base.
Yeah, I think Bradley too. It's the non-sexy part of the business, right? Yeah. It's the stuff that you gotta think about. You gotta look at the data. If you're using, have you had success using screen recording software and studying the user's movement on the site?
Yeah, so I use Hotjar. I absolutely love it. And the guy that developed it, David Darmin, he's an ex-colleague of mine. We were both consultants, conversion rate experts together. And when we were working there, we used to have to use so many different pieces of software. We had things like Crazy Egg, then we had Qualaroo for asking pop-up survey questions, then we had ClickTail for doing the screen recordings, and something else for Survey Monkey. But basically what David did is he was just this would just be so much easier in one platform. So he developed Hotjar, and it is just the conversion rate consultant's wet dream because you just plug this one thing in, set it all up, and then you come back a week or 2 weeks later once you've gathered some data and you've just got everything you need to be able to go and then figure out what's going to move the needle for you in terms of conversions. Because you've got heat maps, you've got screen recordings, you've got pop-up survey results, you've sent out a survey to your email list, and it's just oh man, now I've got some stuff to play with, It's cool.
So you said Hotjar?
Yeah, Hotjar.
Yep, Hotjar.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's so key right there. It's so you don't have to, because a lot of people think with improving your conversions or getting success in e-com, it's a guessing game, it's just you think that you can win, but you can really find some concrete reasons on how you can create unique experiences for your customers by just following some basic principles that you just recently covered.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've had some massive wins just from looking at screen recordings or heat maps and realizing that there's things that can be removed from the page. It's not about adding extra stuff to help persuade people. Sometimes just removing something that's kind of an obstacle in their visual eye path, if you like, that can be huge. Again, going back to the above the fold thing, if you've got a piece of information there that people are just kind of skipping over and they're seeing it as irrelevant, whereas you're thinking, I've got a banner ad there advertising another collection on my store, and actually it's getting in the way of people getting to the stuff they really want to get to. just by removing that banner ad could be a huge win for you. So those heat maps and screen recordings are awesome in uncovering that sort of stuff.
Well, I would be, if I didn't introduce you to Jeremy Wainwright over here, he's a big fan of yours too. You also get a chance to meet him in Las Vegas here, Facebook guru himself. And he's got about three or four Shopify stores now. Several of them doing over $1 million. And awesome. I know that like he's really big into conversions, optimization, and stuff like that. So I just wanted to, he had his hand raised, so I figured I'd bring him over and ask the question real quick.
Awesome. Oh, that's why my hand was raised. Is that what it was? Well, yeah, Bradley, it's nice to meet you.
Hey, how you doing?
Explain to me your shirt. What does it say?
It says Shoptimized.
Yeah. And what is your connection to Shoptimize?
So
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
He's just the creator and the owner.
Yeah. So the part that Daryl left out is that I run 5 stores and they all run on Shoptimize. So
awesome,
man. Yeah.
I love you, Jeremy.
No. I love you.
Testimonial right here.
Yeah, so it's a pleasure to meet you over video. It'll be even nicer to shake your hand in person in Vegas.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Nice.
Awesome, man. Any questions you got, Jeremy?
No, I mean, it's one of those things where after you've dug around it for a while, like it's pretty straightforward out the get-go, but I spent a lot of time in there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, awesome, Jeremy.
Now I'll ask you a question real quick, Jeremy. So, why did you choose to use the Shoptimize theme for all your Shopify stores?
So, the first step was figuring out a theme that I was really happy with. I think I know we've talked about this before. I come from the affiliate space, and so it was really important for me to have a lot of control. And then after having a lot of control, it was really important for me not to have to actually change things. And so when I started training people that work for me and VAs, the idea that one set of VAs was only going to work on one store was just silly. And the fact that I would not use the exact same theme for all the stores was also silly. And so after I figured out that with other templates, with other themes, I needed to do lots and lots of like HTML and CSS and some other like hacking together. Those just weren't going to work, and Shoptimize just seemed like the best option. And then after I was in Shoptimize, there were a few things that needed to be changed, and eventually they ended up getting changed. And so that's always nice when you know that the person who owns the product that you're using actually listens to their customers and then makes things better and adds features.
Yeah, man. We're feature junkies.
Exactly. And that's always nice. Like you can always tell when the person who made your product is like maybe an even bigger nerd than you are, because occasionally things happen where you're like, oh man, I didn't even think about like them adding that. And then just like new features pop up and you're like, yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, you're gonna love our next new release coming out hopefully by the end of the month if our devs make it happen. But we've got about probably 12 or 15 new features being added.
Nice. So yeah, I'll definitely stay tuned and keep an eye out for those.
Awesome,
man. Well, yeah, we get the live testimonial at the event here in Vegas coming up. Guys, we got a few more minutes here. I want to open up. Anybody have any other questions for Bradley here? I want to make sure you guys get an opportunity to ask him whatever questions you want. I know that Lisa came on earlier. She had some questions earlier. Stephanie,
we got the conversion king on the freaking call right now.
Conversion king, guys. So
I mean, it don't get much better than this.
Yep. So I'm just gonna throw Stephanie in the fire here. Stephanie Bazak. So this is actually Matt Bazak's wife. So
hey,
Stephanie, you are unmuted and live. So if you got the kids, I'll say hi to the kids. Can you hear us, Stephanie?
Maybe your mic not might be working.
I don't know if her mic's on. So guys, we got Matt Bazak going to be coming to the event here. Stephanie, his wife, no mic on the desktop. So Stephanie is going to be coming on with us live here in Vegas as well. And she's actually, her husband, Matt Bazak, Is one of the best internet marketers out there on the planet. Literally, been doing this game for a long, long time. About as long as you've been doing Shoptimize, for selling stuff online. He's been doing internet marketing stuff on the info product side of things. So, literally, it was Matt. His wife came like, I'd like to sell that, and he's like, I got the perfect person for you, and that's kind of where she entered the game a little bit. And she's been going through the content and the course and chugging along in there. I think they're in the process of setting up their business entity, and she might have some questions in there. So I definitely, guys, have an opportunity to have somebody like Bradley on who literally, I'm just kind of curious, Bradley, like what did that company charge when you guys are doing conversion optimization for some of those companies out there? I know it was probably in the 6-figure range.
Yeah. I mean, it was a minimum of 10 grand a month.
Yeah.
Minimum. And then the bigger the client, the bigger the charge, I'd say. So it wasn't cheap, but you got your money back, pretty quick. Yeah. Cause, they always got results. Basically every consultant that works for them has to, achieve a minimum of 143% growth within 6 months. So, that's the kind of the benchmark. So you're going to get your money back because they're going to more than double your business. That's always been my aim whenever I work with a client, is to more than double their business.
So Stephanie says waiting on her logo to come back and get all our vendors on. She's happy to help and looking forward to the meeting there in person. I got Lisa. Lisa, can you hear us? Got you unmuted there.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hey, Lisa. Lisa, you had some questions this morning. You're like, people are coming to my store not buying. I'm like,
oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know. I don't even know what to ask.
Isn't this cool?
I'm trying to learn the Google stuff, so.
Trying to learn the Google stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So Bradley, tell her some simple tips that she can learn about how to increase the conversions once customers actually come to her store. What's some of the most basic things that somebody can do?
So the top 3 things you can do for any store.
Get your pencils out, guys. Pen, dry erase markers.
This is basically based on about 6,700 split tests. Okay.
How many?
6,700 split tests.
Just a couple.
Yeah. The 3 most influential things you can do is, 1 is urgency. Okay, so that's like your countdown timers. The second one is social proof.
I hope you guys watch that module.
Yeah. You've got to have your reviews there. All right. And if you've got, if you've been in any magazines or any other publications, you've been mentioned in Entrepreneur magazine, that's gold if you can get something like that. Obviously, not everyone's going to be in a position to do that, but any kind of press coverage that you can leverage their credibility and use it as your own is awesome. And you want to be using a review app, something like Looks, that allows you to, if you're drop shipping from AliExpress, for example. I know you guys teach high ticket, but just as an example, you can import the reviews from AliExpress via the Looks app, so you can borrow previous reviews, put them on your site till you get your own. Okay, because they're reviews about the product that you're supplying, so it's perfectly legit.
Yep, Home Depot does that.
Yeah,
Home Depot does it. Walmart does it. Yeah, Google does it. Like, the reviews that are there aren't from Google; they're from the stores that list the products on Google.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's number 2, and number 3 is scarcity. Okay, so that's like how much stock or inventory you've got left. Okay, or this deal, we've only got 50 in stock, and when they're gone, they're gone. So if you can leverage those 3 things, they're really going to help you. Okay. The other one is what I mentioned earlier, which is your value proposition. Okay. So why should someone buy from you rather than anyone else? If you can get those things nailed, then you're off to a good start. Then it's just going to come down to the product and the price.
Thank you.
No worries.
Boom.
Lisa.
That's some gold right there. So Lisa, any last questions you got, Bradley, the one and only, right now?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'm probably gonna think about it since we're done. And I'll be like, oh, I should have asked that.
Yeah.
Guys, this is why I say every week, we announce who the people are. You got to log in the group, check it out, make sure you know, check your emails, get your questions. You should be writing down questions, literally. So people coming to Las Vegas, just start writing down your questions right now, because I guarantee you have the opportunity to get them all answered. And that's where really where the gold is. Literally, people have paid Bradley over the years thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just for this information, guys. And I want to bring on Michael Morton. He's one of our students as well. And Michael had a question about a tagline. Like how important is a tagline in a store for getting conversions? So Michael, you are unmuted, man. Go ahead, ask your question.
Well, I was wondering from Bradley how his tagline on his website is used for conversion, if at all. Is it used for conversion? Do you use that in your ads, things like that?
Yeah, so the tagline, it's not the be-all and end-all, because a bad tagline is actually going to hurt your conversion. So it's better not to have one at all than have a bad one. And it's something that you need to, again, test and just work on and iterate over time, because the best tagline in the world would be something like FedEx's, like when it absolutely has to be there overnight, okay, because it conveys the benefit of the service. Whereas if you just say something really bland that could apply to anyone and something like the lowest prices, any business could put that on as their tagline. Yeah.
Sure.
So it has to, if you're going to use one, make sure it's really impactful and conveys a unique benefit. Okay, I've written a whole blog post about this on the Shoptimized blog, because it's something that I see a lot of people get wrong. Obviously, we have a kind of slot for that on the Shoptimized theme, but unless you've really put some thought into it and you've got a point of difference that you can convey on it, then just don't use that element, because it can actually work against you if you're just boring with it, and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So yeah, don't get hung up on it if you're worried about because we've put a field for it, and you don't feel like you've got to use it.
Okay, thanks.
No worries.
Cool. Any other questions, Michael?
No, not right now.
Awesome, man. All right, Michael, I'll talk to you later, buddy. See you in Vegas.
Thanks, Daryl.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'm excited to sit down and be able to spend some time with you in person coming out Las Vegas. And guys, we're actually filling up the Las Vegas event pretty quickly. Bradley's about to email actually out his list of people that are going to be coming as well. A couple other speakers doing the same thing. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, you better get them. We only got 19 spots left right now. We were up around like 50 when we started. We're really looking to jam pack the house and the mansion really for this and make it a great time for everybody. And literally, you get a chance to hang out like Bradley here and ask him whatever questions you want, where he could literally look at your store. You can't pay for that. I mean, literally, he only has so much time, and for him to actually come out with us to spend some time. So I just want to say thank you again, Bradley, for doing that. And I look forward to having you on actually a lot longer. And you're going to come back and actually spend a little bit longer time with us with some more of your drawn out training, basically, so these guys can gobble that stuff up in the future. So I'll be putting out an email about that. So make sure you guys are checking your emails, because it's, we're going to get Bradley live, literally. So you're going to go full in depth on everything that he does for everybody. So definitely be attending that. So Bradley, before I go, I got Ernest here. Ernest, any other questions you got for Bradley today?
Yeah, no, I think Bradley absolutely crushed it. If you're just watching this for the first time, quite honestly, a lot of the stuff that he talked about, you could literally spend hours going through and with due diligence and figuring out what's going to work best for your audience. So, he just talked about, for Lisa, because you gotta look at the content that he covered for us today. In the beginning, we asked him, hey, what's the best recommendations for beginners, just starting, just launching the store? Then he came back, and now he addressed some questions and concerns for Lisa, which wasn't necessarily for beginners, but now someone who's actually driving traffic, right? You guys probably didn't pay attention to that. He didn't say the same things he said at the end as what he said in the beginning. They're completely different concepts that he covered, which literally he just said, even from a tagline, he's written probably like 1,000-word article just on a tagline, right? So really think about some of the different elements that he's covered today and figure out and test those different things on your actual store and figure out what's going to work best for your audience. Because, a lot of the stuff that he talked about is things that, are consistently always potentially maybe changing. There might be different modifications that you may need to use or do, for specific products. I know when I was working full time, one of the things that annoyed me was, I'm working, I'm getting phone calls. I don't want to get phone calls while I'm working, right? Like I want that, money to come in while I'm not doing anything. So one of the things specifically that I did, and I can't remember if I've mentioned it at all at any point, specifically for you guys, I have in different topics, but I would take the top questions that people would get based off of the product, and I would move those to what Bradley was talking about above the fold. I would move those questions above the fold for those product pages to improve the conversions and cut down the phone calls while I was working. So that's just like one little thing. If you're getting consistent questions coming from your audience, Bradley talked about one of the split tests he did for one of their clients where they implemented changing the return policy. If you're getting specific things coming from your audience, like those are reasons why they're not buying from you. And you need to be able to address those things to make people feel comfortable about purchasing on your website, especially at the price points in which we're looking to get people to convert at. It's a lot of what Bradley talked about with that user experience. And that's what his expertise is really showing you how to capture the right experience for your customer and your audience to ultimately allow them to check out on your store. So watch this again. Daryl's going to have it, archived in the Wisdom Wednesdays. I'm telling you, this call will add multiple six figures of income to your business. I'm not saying that to hype up Bradley because Bradley's already amazing in his own right. I'm telling you, this is a lot of the stuff that I personally have done myself to improve conversions on my store in different pieces and different phases, because you can't all do it at once, because then you're not able to actually test everything properly, right? So go back to this call. We're going to be fortunate enough, even outside from Vegas, to have Bradley come back through and literally walk you through some mechanics of how to improve your conversions on another live setting. So don't miss that. Pencil it in your calendar once we get the date out to you. And I just look forward to seeing everybody create massive success from all the wisdom you share with us today, Bradley.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, I can't wait to come to Vegas, guys. I'm really excited about that. And get your questions ready, because I'm there to do some website teardowns and really.
Website teardowns.
We'll get them in a hot seat, and we can go through it in pixel by pixel and really get their conversions cranking for them.
Pixel by pixel, baby. Here he comes.
Boom. You heard it, man. We're getting the Conversion King live in Vegas.
Bring your website. Oh, my God.
Bring your website. Don't come without your website. That's all. Just don't come without your website.
Cool, man. I think that about wraps it up, guys. Bradley, is there any last gold nuggets you want to drop on the table, that maybe a question I didn't ask you that maybe you'd want to think would be a good person or a good thing to say to everybody?
The biggest thing you can do is, like I said at the beginning, is just make sure you test this stuff, because just assuming stuff is very, very dangerous to your business. Yeah, because it might you might implement something, you think, oh yeah, that's working, and you've looked at it in a very small window of time. But over the long term, it might not have worked. So you've got to make sure you're keeping your eye on this stuff. And just go and get yourself a free trial to Hotjar and get that installed, because that will make a huge difference to your business.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, Bradley, thank you again. I'll see you here in a few weeks, and look forward to having you do some website teardowns, baby. Woo!
Yeah, man. All right. Look forward to it, guys. Thanks very much.
See you guys.
All right. Later.
Take it easy.